Well, good evening. You've probably noticed this isn't the voice of one Jack Cancel coming to you, but instead Tpol here. And the reason for that is that Jack himself, manager of the Burkha Merkage, is here to enjoy his spotlight. Obviously Jack's actually won an award for his efforts with the Lord's Xpert TV. And it seems only fitting that after interviewing the majority of the other players in the league, Jack is going to be getting interviewed today, and we're going to speak here. I'm joined also by Norman.
Hi, thanks for having me. Glad to be here.
And obviously manager of Athletic Bilbo. And mainly me, but we will be asking Jack a series of questions and really getting into what has made the Burkha one of the teams to be feared in the Lords over the past, probably 3 or 4 seasons. So, if not longer, I don't know.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yeah. How are you, Jack, this fine evening?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good. You know, I got a week ahead of me. Going to be plenty of Xpert banter going on this week after work, and going to be enjoying it.
Well, I mean, I'm obviously for one very excited about the start of the new season. How are you feeling as things obviously will start next Tuesday?
Well, as always, it's a daunting prospect, but you know, I endear such opportunities because it's a time for great banter, great pressing, great community we've got going now. I feel that this is a good time to be in the Lords,
Oh,
and,
definitely.
Particularly for the start of the league. We got the cup tomorrow, right? And that'll be a nice little mix to see who can get into the second round of that sort of lucky dip of the cup, and then straight into the first round.
But how are you feeling about your team as we stand?
Well, in terms of my team, I feel, like I said in my press, I think that every team out there is beatable to the Burkha Merkage. Granted, we've taken on a lot of youth as of late, but I still think we're in quite a strong position. Our real contenders are other milkers. I really see ourselves and maybe Tristan in the top flight going for the trophy lift.
Mm-hmm.
So it really depends on these first 3 games.
And who are your first 3 games again?
Pussy Patrol first up, which I'm looking forward to.
Yeah.
Then it's a bit of a downhill with other milkers and then Bear Brat. So taking on my 2 sort of rivals that I'm predicting, So it really will be a tense couple of.
You could argue you get them out of the way early, though. However, obviously that will mean things come towards the end of the season as well could end up being very precarious, and you guys will all be facing off against each other. So
true. It's just going to be about how you can handle that form, whether you got that rotational form, and sort of getting your idea behind the form tendencies, which I feel I got a pretty good finger on.
Yeah. Well, I know you probably won't elaborate too much further, so no point really going into that. But in terms of your new signings, and you said you brought in a bit of youth. Are there any particular players that you're excited for as that coming season?
Well, I'd just say keep your eye on Damien Mitchell, mate. He's bred from good stock, and he's seen a season, and he's seen 1 season in the Lords, so he's got experience. He slotted really nicely into our youthful development, and I think give him a couple of seasons. That's someone to keep your noses clean of,
Yeah. Would you concur with that, Norman?
Oh, I'd agree. I worked with him at the Bilbo, and he's one of those guys. He's first on the training pitch, last to leave. He's a stand-up guy, and great chap, very 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 talented young.
And a mighty prospect. He is treading water behind 13 skills up there, Chris Burnett and Hank Moody. But I think with their guidance, he can become in their dizzy heights.
You predicting a double right here, right now?
Well, all I'm going to say is he went up 35% in the last change report, so he's up there.
He's got it in him.
He's got it in
a lot.
And let's face it, if there's any manager in the Lords who you want to kind of give a player to have a double, it's 2 of these managers sat right in front of you.
Anyway,
neutral backslapping completely.
I don't know how to recover from that. So, you touched upon earlier with, the banter and the state of the Lords right now. What exactly are your feelings towards that? I mean, how do you feel that the Burkha and you, particularly as a manager, have contributed to sort of the ascend of the Lords, and the fact that the Lords now is probably, well, I think it's ranked amongst the top 300 teams in Xpert.
200, I think.
Oh, really? And I know it's very high, and obviously, we're all enjoying it immensely. How do you feel that you and the Burkha have contributed to that success?
Well, solely as a manager and participant in the league, I think, I take great pride in being an assistant, having the chance to represent this league to other players who might see me in the Xpert series, or the ladies, they might just cotton onto my user and see that, that wells me up inside. How I feel about everyone else getting involved, again, it's a really strong feeling I have inside me that I love it. I just fucking love it.
Do you think it will continue?
I sincerely hope so. I mean, I'm not going to predict the future, but I see it lasting at least the next year, minimum. In terms of us in the whole league and what we contributed, I mean, we have our fair share and everything. I'm not going to say my ship smells like flowers, but I feel like I'm a strong part of it. I contribute readily. Sorry. Yeah, I think I'm also just a figure that represents all that's good in the Lords. Good playing, good development, good winning. People should look up to me.
If you say so, mate. Well, what would you say? I know, obviously you don't want to give away too many of your secrets, but what would you say is one of your keys to success? I mean, you have been one of the top teams over the last few seasons. How have you managed to achieve that?
Well, when I first came into the Lords in season 2, I just recognised that it was all about youth. I could get in 18-4s and 19-4s at that point, and I recognised I wasn't going to be a threat straight away. There was teams sincerely stronger than me. I was just blessed with not having to get boosted and having a relatively strong team to start with, so there wasn't a lot of change. But just having that initial cycle, granted, along the lines, there wasn't enough regen.
There wasn't too much catching up to do. It was only the second season.
Indeed.
It was a young league still.
So I had that really nice opportunity to just bring in some youths, have 4 seasons, and sort of catch up with everyone. And that's, I feel, what I did. After 4 seasons, I lifted the trophy and said, I am a Lord. So,
and since then?
I mean, I skated along, won a few things here and there, kept myself to myself. Then me and Graham bossed it for a bit, and it was
talk us through those doubles. Talk us through what was going on, what happened, and how you were able to achieve, quite substantial success over a very short period of time. Obviously, that has sort of faded now slightly, but
I guess that initial stepping stone of getting in the youth and really committing to them, and then just sacking off, the drags that I didn't want, pulling my team back. I got to a point where I had like 26-12s. I had strong players in all departments, and then form was just on my side. I bossed a whole season, and that put me in a really good position to get money, trophies, just my initial season, and get some really good players in. Then I settled down for another couple of seasons, and then when I started to boss it, there was a really great ambience in the club. We felt really strongly about our team, about their performances, how their form really. It gave me a really interesting insight to how form and form tendency really does affect a season, and how that if you really want to be a great manager, you need to have brilliant team sheet. Granted, we all have to sort of work our way through that, but then you need to start winning seasons, because that's what's going to give you good form, going to give you good TV at the end of it. It's
good change reports.
Yeah, that's it. And your best opportunity is to win a league, because that is going to give you a lot of promise for the start of next season.
Well, I definitely say, having just come off my first league victory, I would thoroughly agree with that. My change report was excellent, and I think those are wise words. I mean, you feel you definitely developed as a manager then since the start of the league.
I think those were my niche seasons, yeah. But don't take that as fact, because Bilbo went through a whole season getting battered up and down the park, but they had a very strong change report. It's all about balancing that form. Like really having a good eye around what's going to happen to each player and how to predict and what days you're setting and all that, all that good stuff.
Mm-hmm. Did you have anything to add, Norm?
No.
Excellent. Well, I think in that case, that rounds up everything quite nicely. We touched upon all the important areas, I feel.
I mean, we didn't really look at before the league and how it can take, but that's fine.
I mean, if there's anything else you'd like to elaborate on, Jack, now is your time to have some final words.
Well, before I surmise my thoughts, maybe I could just plunge a little bit more into how I got to Xpert,
If you would like to.
Yeah, I feel that's an important
He's gone
area.
rogue.
Well, I just feel it was another big, important learning curve for me. That first 2 years, back in the day when it was the first Lords, I really didn't have a fucking clue, and it was all about for me at that point, it was all about the banter. Just talking with Larry and having that sort of mini competition within our friends. Everyone was kind of nubbish back then. We all, a lot of you lot, Graham, Tristan, and you had a clue on what you were doing. I was just sort of going along, and then when it all disbanded, I was none the wiser. And then when it came back, that's when I thought, it's not just a banter. Like, I want to win. I want to do well. I want to be the team that people fear under. And I still regale those days sat at uni in the third year, just thinking, when is it going to happen? Pete guiding me through, how to set for certain other teams, how to read, all that tactical side of it, And where I am today just makes me feel a lot, very affirmed in the decisions I've made and the teams I've had and all the experiences I've had. It really sort of makes me the manager I am today.
That's lovely, mate. I suppose as well, we can't, as much as I hate to say it, we can't conclude an interview on the Burkha without mentioning that one player that I think has, is probably the superstar of the league right now, for the moment. But tell us about Peter Petrelli and how you managed to
Said it.
how you managed to how you managed to develop him and what the secret was. Because obviously, at the end of the day, as much as we all hate him, we'd all love to have a 25-13 in our team. So, what would you say was the secret to sort of his success?
I think, Xpert presented me with a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity on Boxing Day. Woke up slightly hungover, and here is your gift, Jack. Have this 17 forward. Nurture him well, and he will be your god. He was my hero. The journey I took him on, was just giving him those important games. When he finally went up, and then did a double, I realised that he was someone to take note of, and that he wasn't just any average youth. He was born to be a superstar. So he got him through the next season, didn't go up, and that was frustrating for me. 22-10 to a 23-10 is just painful. So I knew I had to get the double. I knew it. So, I just buried deep, won the season. And again, that's contributed massively. And, if anything, he did more of the work. It's his special attributes that really compound his ability to gain form and average form in DV. Having a free kick taker in defence who's got shooting power, heading power, and works hard in training, it pays dividends.
Yeah, it must do.
And, it makes the creamy part of me even more moist every time I hear his name being uttered by another manager.
Well, that's definitely the last time I'm going to be saying it. Any final words, Jack? I know Norman has fuck all to say, so...
No, sir.
I'd like to surmise by just declaring that the Burkha shall live on, and we look to lift.
Excellent. Well, thank you. Thank you for listening. Hope you enjoyed this latest episode. This is a spotlight on the Burkha Merkage with Jack and Norman.
Ali Akbar!
I've been Tpol, your host, and goodbye.
Tom Pilkington.